So, Michael, if you remember from last week's review of the first Fast and Furious, called The Fast and the Furious, I mentioned a little jingle, I guess is the best way to describe it, and you said you hadn't heard of this jingle. So, for today's opening to this review of Too Fast, Too Furious, I think we have to play it. Are you ready?
Yes, Luke, I'm ready and waiting.
Okay, here we go.
Paul Walker, I'm so sad that you died in a car crash.
Done.
Oh, I can't believe I'd never heard of that
Play it again.
masterpiece.
Walker, I'm so sad that you died in a car crash.
Paul Walker, I'm so sad that you died in a car crash.
I tell you what, I didn't realize Vin Diesel had such a beautiful singing voice.
I know. Well, that's the thing. It's 6 seconds long, and if you remember, Michael, Vines. You remember Vines, right? Vines were great. Vines were so
Rest
good.
in peace, Vine.
I know. I can't believe they went. And obviously, TikTok has somewhat replaced them, but the key was they were 6 seconds long, so you had to fit whatever you wanted to say in those 6 seconds. And this might be the best ever 6 seconds, the best ever Vine ever created, honouring the death of Paul Walker. So yeah, there you go. Now you know, Michael. Now you know. And
knowing is half the battle.
Yeah, and one more time, again, of course, this is all in respect to Paul Walker, R.I.P.
Yeah.
Yeah, one more time, here we go.
Paul Walker, I'm so sad that you died in a car crash.
Okay, that's it. That's the last one. Let's get into the review.
All right. Hello and welcome to Select and Reflect, the movie review podcast where we look at films that have come out in the near and distant past. We give them a couple of watches and evaluate them beyond first impressions. I'm your host Michael, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Luke. And this week we are continuing our Zoom June celebration of the Fast and Furious movies in anticipation of Fast and Furious 9, whatever it's called. And this week...
F9.
I thought it might be... Okay, F9, yeah, that makes sense. Feeling fine. And this week we are looking at Too Fast and also Too Furious. So Luke, why don't you tell us a thing or two about Too Fast, Too Furious?
I realised that, because of course F9 is called F9. What if F1, or the first Fast and Furious was called F1, the next one was called F2?
They'd get sued.
Yeah, they would. So they had to switch it up. And yeah, there's F2 and there's F3. Those are racing series as well. So there you go. Anyway, F9 would be incredibly slow. Like, God, that would be like a fucking lawnmower series. F9 if it was in the Formula One chain. But anyway,
yeah.
We are not doing F9. But although we are going to predict what it will get on Rotten Tomatoes at the end of this. At the end of this review, of course. First up, though, Too Fast, Too Furious, Michael, like you said, part of our Zoom June. Last week we did The Fast and the Furious for its 20-year anniversary. Next week we're doing Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift for its 15-year anniversary. And we're doing this movie not because of an anniversary, just because, we can use it as an excuse to, basically because of F9 coming out, we're going to use that as an excuse to basically review this movie, even though there's no anniversaries. And of course, it lines up well with the, being in between the two that do have anniversaries. You get what I'm saying, Michael? You get.
No, yeah, definitely. I think we have more than enough precedent to review these films.
Absolutely. So, Too Fast, Too Furious is a 2003 action film directed by John Singleton and written by Michael Brandt and Derek Haas. With a story co-written by Gary Scott Thompson, and it is a standalone to the Fast and Furious 2001 film, of course, The Fast and the Furious. It is the second installment in the Fast and the Furious franchise, and I thought it was just the Fast saga. Now it's the Fast and Furious franchise. Anyway, it stars
Fast and Furious Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, that's what it is. It stars Paul Walker, Tyrese Gibson, Eva Mendes, Cole Hauser, Chris Ludacris Bridges, and James Remar. It was released on June the 6th, 2003. So yeah, we're almost at its 18-year anniversary. Again, who cares about 18-year anniversaries? But you know what? There you go. And can you tell me what the budget was for Too Fast, Too Furious, Michael? How much it cost?
I wish I could remember what the budget was for the first film, because I felt like this would maybe be similar to that. I mean, you did hype up in the first film the cost of Vin Diesel, and obviously this doesn't have Vin Diesel in it. But with that said, I think, wasn't it... I wish I could remember what it was for the last film.
I think it was around 50 million.
Well, I was going to guess 50 million.
I think it was 60, actually. I think it was 60.
Well, I feel like you're trying to throw me off, Luke, or you're trying to help me out. Actually, I think you're the kind of guy who would try and help me out.
No,
so
I'm just
gonna
saying. I think the budget last week was 60.
Yeah. I think probably okay. But yeah, okay. I mean, I do maintain that this film would cost similar to the previous film. I think they'd be like, well, why would we want to spend more? I mean, and also in terms of production values, this film looks similar in terms of cast. I mean, if anything, it should be cheaper because it's not got Vin Diesel, who I do think probably costs money. But yeah, I'm just going to play it safe, I think, and say it probably costs roughly the same. So you say 50 or say, I'm going to go 55 million.
See, here's the thing, Michael. Last week the budget was 38 million.
You liar!
I don't know why I thought of that. But anyway, it's 76. Like, I even gave you what I thought it was, and you still guess lower. And it's
well, to be fair, I mean, I would have guessed even lower if you wouldn't have.
Exactly, but I'm saying I said I think the budget last time was 60. So for a sequel, you would expect it to be more or about the same, and you still guessed less than that. So
well, it's because you said first of all you said you thought it was 50, and you said so of course, but okay, yeah,
okay.
But I mean, to be fair, I mean, yeah, I guess
there will never be a movie where you guess over. It's always under every single time. So 76 million is the budget, and how much did this rake in at the box office?
Okay, so
I'll give you the Fast and the Furious. That was 207.
I actually, believe it or not, I did remember that. I remember that. Well, I was going to say 200 million because that's what I rounded it to. And again, like, my mind tells me this film. I mean, it must have done slightly better because it would have had more brand recognition. And I would say, like, I think this film was worse. I mean, spoilers, but I think this film is worse than the original film. But I don't think that would affect it that much. And yeah, like I say, brand recognition. Like, obviously, this film would have to make
so take a guess, Michael.
More money. So, but I don't think too much. Let's just go for 260 million.
236.
Okay. I was right about making a bit more.
Thank God you guessed more, though, because if you guessed under, I would have been.
Well, I think, to be fair, I've occasionally guessed under. Sorry, I occasionally guessed over with box office.
I meant under the Fast and the Furious.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
If you guessed like 190, I would have driven to wherever you live and hit you.
Yeah.
But I don't have to do that now, thank God. So, Michael, you've already given your thoughts on it, but tell us one more time. Did you like Too Fast, Too Furious?
Well, Luke, let me tell you this. I was surprised when I rewatched this film, because of course I've seen it before. I was surprised at how it was not even kind of entertainingly bad. I mean, don't get me wrong, there were entertaining elements to it, but I kind of remembered this film as being like very stupid in a very funny way, and I was actually surprised and of course disappointed with how this film was not only not very good on a kind of technical level, and like I already said, worse than the original film in my opinion, but also I found this film quite boring as well. So yeah, overall, pretty negative thoughts from this corner. What did you think, Luke?
You know what? I said last week at the end of our review, this one elicits an eye roll, certainly more than the Fast and the Furious, and I think it's maybe Tyrese Gibson, and it's the fact that this is this obviously Tokyo Drift and this one are quite different to the original in terms of the characters involved, I guess. You still got a similar thing of going undercover, fast cars, of course. But yeah, I was like, it's not a package deal. This in Tokyo Drift, this one is not that dumb. And again, with you, I was surprised at how just average it was. And you could say it's boring. I didn't really think it was boring. It was just like quite. It was filler. It was quite.
Yeah, that's what I thought about it. I mean, well, I guess I'll save my wider thoughts when we get into the plot.
Yeah, no, I mean that's the thing. Like, there are some stupid things in it, and we will go through them. A lot of the plot is just very dumb, especially the setup to the plot. But yeah, I was thinking like halfway through, I was like, you know what, this isn't actually that awful in a way I was thinking. And then you get to the end, and it's like you sit back and you're like, you know what, like this movie has a bad reputation. I mean, I'm gonna look at this from Wikipedia. I've never seen this before. It received negative reviews on Metacritic, and Rotten Tomatoes said it won't tax the brain cells. And I don't agree with that. But that's the thing. And I'll explain why, because I think it's a bit. Some of the plot is a bit complicated, but it's not like really badly made. And well, when I said plot's complicated, it's complicated in that it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I get you.
That's how it is. Yeah.
I mean, I thought that with several of the Fast and Furious films. Like, it seems as if in a bizarre way, their strategy a lot of times just to have lots of things happen, and that in their mind involves like different relationships with different people. And to be honest, it's something which gets more complicated as the films go on. Like, I still remember Fate of the Furious, just like there's so many relationships in play at that point in the franchise. It's like, wow, how do they keep track of all this?
I know, but then that's the thing. You try and analyze that, and you're like, oh, and that's what we're going to do in this. and we're like, actually, this doesn't make sense.
Mm.
But anyway, so let's get into Too Fast, Too Furious, Michael, and the nitpicks. How many have you got?
I've got 2.
I've got 2 as well. You go first.
Okay. Yeah, both of mine are quite bad. The first one is Paul Walker. Paul Walker said, "I'm going to crash, Ted." And he did crash.
Sorry, you're going to have to repeat that.
And Paul Walker said, "I'm going to go crash, Ted." And Paul
when
Walker,
did he say
he
this?
said it when he got, so in the context he meant like go to sleep, like if I say, oh, it's all right if I crash at your place. I think it's when he shows up. I think it's when they're putting together their plan of like having multiple cars and Tej is going to be driving one of them, and he is getting his car worked and whatever, and he says, "Hey, I'm going to go crash, Tej." And I just thought to myself, you are Mr. Walker. Not yet, but you are.
In about 12 years' time, you will. Yeah, you're gonna.
I mean, it's just quite funny that like crash means like go get some sleep, but also means.
You know what? The thing is, obviously, I don't remember that line because it's such a like innocuous line. But yeah, I can. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. I don't know. To be honest, I think it was just like it was one of those things where it's kind of just a happenstance. I noticed it and just made that connection.
Yeah. We're getting a lot of content out of Paul Walker's death here. A lot of humorous things.
Yeah,
We
wouldn't be reviewing these films if he hadn't died.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Anyway, what's your next?
So the final one, and this one's, I mean, it kind of doesn't matter because it's the guy who was with Walker would presumably have realized something was up earlier on towards the end of the film when they're driving along, when Roman didn't know that the plans had changed. And what I mean by that is, of course, that Paul Walker is just about to throw out his, Mexican chaperone, and he then gets told, "Oh, there's a new plan."
What do you say? What do you call him? A
Mexican chaperone.
Okay, what makes you think he's Mexican? You fucking racist.
Sorry,
he speaks Spanish.
Oh yeah,
okay. That doesn't mean he's
yeah,
Mexican.
right. Actually, because obviously they can be,
As we know,
Puerto Rican. There we go.
As we know from In the Heights, there's people from Puerto Rico.
Oh, also, I mean, Fate of the Furious is set in Cuba, isn't it? So,
Dominican Republic, Cuba. There's a lot of Cubans in Miami.
Yeah, I am just doing that thing where I assume that if a film's set in America, then, to be fair, if the film was set in Cuba, I would not have assumed he was Mexican. So there we go.
All right, that's good.
Anyways, the Latino chaperone, and
Latinx.
Yeah, basically, he then finds out, of course, oh, there's a change of plan. We're going to this different place. And then he calls Roman and says, "Hey, Roman, there's been a change of plan." And I would assume that the original idea was that the Latinos, which of course the main bad guy trusts, were going to let both Roman and Paul Walker know that there had been a change in plan. That was the original thing, I imagine, because obviously, the Latino tells Paul Walker about it. So I would feel like the Latinos should have been like, hold on a minute. Why did you have to tell Roman that there's been a change in plan? Shouldn't his Hispanic or Latino company guy have a partner have told him that as well, and then realize something was up? And I realize it's kind of pointless because obviously at this point we then find out that the bad guy already knows something's up and he already knows they betrayed him. But I just thought, it would have been, based on the fact that he could have surmised from the fact that
the Latino. So basically, what you're saying is Paul Walker, he's having that conversation with Roman or Tyrese Gibson, and he's saying to Tyrese, "Hey Tyrese, we're going to a different place," and the Latino guy is sitting next to him saying, "Why isn't my friend Hector?" I don't know if he's called Hector. I don't know. Why is my colleague Hector? Why did he not tell him that?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I just feel like I guess what I'm saying is it would have shown some deductive reasoning and maybe made that kind of minor henchman seem a bit more three-dimensional. Maybe he could have been like,
oh yeah, that a vital part of the movie.
Hey, why? I feel like my accent. I was gonna be like, I don't even know what my accent. I was gonna be like, hey, why did you not help my friend out?
That's just Italian.
Why did you? I think that something must be wrong with my buddy because actually no, I think actually I was doing more like kind of it's like I think it's like Russian. I remember there's this famous clip of a hockey player and goes like, "It's on the game. Why you have to be mad?" And
that's more Russian when you went hef.
Why you have to throw my friend out of the car? Why you have to use the ejector seat? I don't like it.
Anyway. I don't think that's...
Anyway, so basically, I mean, I kind of thought it was a bad nitpick, but I also just thought, a little bit of deductive reasoning.
It's good. I mean, we spent a lot of time on it.
Yeah,
but
and that's what matters.
Okay, right, I'll be quick with my first nitpick. So, Roman Pierce, of course, played by Tyrese Gibson, he gets his ankle bracelet off when he gets to Miami, and he gets out the car, and he scratches his ankle. And it's not a nitpick on the fact that he does that. It's well, it kind of is as well, but it's a nitpick on the fact that, you know, it's so obvious. Like, the camera zooms in on his ankle just to let you know, hey, the bracelet's off. Like, we couldn't deduce that from, like, a line of dialogue or the fact that he's now clearly in Miami and not in Los Angeles. It has to zoom in on his ankle, and it's like, oh, he doesn't have his bracelet on. I was just like, oh, come on, that's a bit pathetic directing there. And next up, Brian. His outfit. When he goes to see Carter Verone, obviously the drug kingpin, he's like, it's a really awful like outfit, because obviously like this movie is quite like fashion conscious to an extent, because you know it's trying to,
it's the hot young thing,
convey this like cool underground aesthetic with these cars and obviously the clothes as well. But like Brian's get up, it's so weird. He's got this black shirt on, and it's like he's got a white power symbol on the back. That's what it looks like. And then you look at a shot of like him showing his whole body. You can see that he's got like his white socks on, which are really high up. And Americans do love to do that, especially white Americans. But
yeah.
I don't know. It just seems like a very uncool thing to
ankle
do.
Socks.
You know? Yeah, not very swaggy to have like high white socks, and that's what he's got on. And it's just like an awful fit for him. And I'm just like, why the hell did they dress him up like that? But, you know, well, you're going for the exact opposite. I just didn't think it. Look, I know it's 2003.
Yeah.
And fashion isn't the best back then, you know. But, like, I thought this was particularly bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, you are right, though, that 2000... I don't know, I feel like it's one of those things where is there going to be a point in the future when... Because obviously, you know, people will be like, oh, 80s, 70s, 60s fashion, that was all fine. But
Well, you know those, like, 4 lads who went viral in that meme?
Those 4 lads...
Outside a pub in England. You know, they're wearing, like, very tight jeans. Because you don't fucking know anything. Because you're always in your bubble reading fucking Simone de Beauvoir.
Yeah, you are.
And
I'm so
fucking
sorry.
defending J.K. Rowling. And you never...
I know. Too fair.
And you never go out into the big wide world, aka Twitter, and see this shit. They were fucking famous. What are you talking about?
When was this? What year did they go viral?
Literally recently, in the last few months. It was probably in January when it really took off.
What were they doing?
They were just standing outside a pub, and it went viral because they just looked like ridiculous. They had really tight jeans, and like their shirts were like not buttoned up at the top. And there was this one lad in the middle who basically had fucking you know what? I'll send it to you now.
Yeah, I'm almost seeing if I can.
Okay, Michael's just looked up the image now, and have you seen that image?
No, yeah, I mean they look really good.
No, but that's the thing. Have you seen it? You said you haven't.
No, I haven't. I genuinely had not.
You fucking live under a rock, honestly. I can't believe you.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
they're
what
so
do you
tight.
do?
They're so.
But that's the thing. That is what I guess modern fashion is.
Yeah, right.
These lads like tight jeans, and basically they got mocked for it, and that is what people will like mock in like 20 years time. But the good thing is we're mocking it today, of course, because they went viral. They were outside a Birmingham pub. You just type in just 4 lads outside pub, and you get that meme. I hope everybody knows what I'm talking about.
I mean, to be fair, I feel like this has to be kind of at least a Britain thing.
Definitely a Britain thing. But I think a load of Americans, because they were making fun of British people.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair,
this is what British people dress like.
Literally today, I was saying like you can tell when a picture is taken in England by how ugly the people are in it. And I feel like that kind of extends to like fashion and hairstyles too. Like there's a certain like you can look at that photo and just immediately like that photo could not have been taken in America or Canada or Australia.
Well, it's the style of like the shoes without the socks as well.
Yeah.
And the type but that's a very British
just everything about it is British.
Style. Yeah, exactly. That's why it got mocked. And you know, that's why even if you're American, you might have seen it. But anyway, we're getting off track here because we've got to go back to Too Fast, Too Furious. Basically, fashion is
just
bad.
like Paul Walker.
Yes, just like Paul Walker. Well, I don't know if he went off a track. I don't know how he crashed. I don't know much about his accident, to be honest. Don't know if he was just he probably was at a track, wasn't he? Yeah, probably. If he's crashing that badly to kill himself. Yeah. Anyway, so let's get back to Too Fast, Too Furious. So of course the movie follows Brian O'Connor, played by Paul Walker, and Roman Pierce, played by Tyrese Gibson, who go undercover for the US Customs Service to apprehend drug lord Carter Verone, who is Argentinian, which is a weird one. Normally like they're Colombian or from Venezuela or from, Guatemala or Mexico. But no, this guy's Argentinian. So it's a weird one. In exchange for the erasure of their criminal records. So yeah, they want to erase their criminal records and all of that shit. So the movie starts off with Ludacris, who of course replaces Ja Rule, This is Ludacris's first appearance in the Fast
Yes.
saga. Yes, and he's hosting the street race in Miami. And I like how, for the sequel, they're going to Miami for this. Because you have Los Angeles, and I think the city most similar to that underground aesthetic is Miami. I mean, it has to be that, I think, right? And, there's an argument for, like, Rockport, Connecticut, but I think Miami is most similar. What do you think, Michael?
Well, to be honest, you mentioned Rockport, Connecticut. I have no idea what you're talking about. I mean, obviously, you couldn't...
Do you know where Connecticut is?
I know where Connecticut is, yeah.
So I'm probably joking, right?
Yeah, okay. Okay, I just thought... I know Connecticut's by the sea, so I was just thinking, is there like a... But yeah, obviously, yeah, in terms of major cities, I think you're right. I mean, like, what are the major cities? New York, Chicago. I mean, I feel like both those cities are too dense. Miami, you're right. It's
well, it's not that it's too dense. It's the fact that LA is quite dense. It's the fact that it's in a tropical climate.
Yeah.
That's the
Sorry,
point.
yeah. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
well, what I'm thinking about when I say dense is kind of like New York. To my knowledge, doesn't have the same like vast, sprawling, open roads.
By the way, my bad. Rockport is in Massachusetts.
Oh no,
That's what I was thinking of.
Okay.
And it's got a population of 6,000. You know what? Maybe actually, what I was thinking of was, I think it was Bridgeport. I think that's
Oh
it.
yeah.
Not Rockport. Have you heard of Bridge? Because here's the thing. I picked that city because I believe it was in the Family Guy joke, and it was like
That's
somebody.
where all your humor comes from. That's why you're
Yeah,
so funny.
I was just thinking of like a shitty US town. I remember that joke from Family Guy where they mock Bridgeport, and it's like got some guy from Bridgeport writing into Family Guy saying, "Dear Family Guy," and the joke is he's.
I think I have
talking
seen
about
that one.
Yeah, all the shitty stuff in his city and how it's not that bad. Bridgeport, city in Connecticut. There you go. But yeah, so yeah, Miami, a good choice for this sequel, I think.
Yeah.
Ludacris calls Brian to do a street race, because he needs a fourth street race. I don't know why, So, he comes and in the meantime they're doing a bunch of breakdancing and shit, which it was just fun. And I guess, we'll talk about the first race since it is the start of the movie. It takes up the first 15 minutes. Actually, a good race. I like there was two separate battles going on. And the idea to jump over the bridge was cool, if it was a bit stupid.
Yeah.
And what do you think, Michael?
I like the way that he's just like, I told you I had something special, and then and I know, I just like the fact that he's got something to prove to this random group of race punters. I don't know what better.
Nah, but maybe there's rival race fucking illegal street races around Miami, and he wants to keep the audience.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's like, everyone's just like, I don't know. There's another race going on the other side of town. I'm not sure if I should keep going to Ludacris's races.
Yeah, Ludacris has got a bit stale now. It's always the same circuit.
The problem with illegal street races is there's just not enough excitement in them. Where's the sense of danger?
Yeah. Okay. So he meets with this girl after the race, played by Eva Mendes, does Brian, and straight after that, he gets arrested, and they use this fucking EMP thing, which is very like it's one of the early stages of like these Fast and Furious gadgets, which are just completely. I don't want to say unrealistic because I'm sure you could whack up something like that, but quite futuristic.
Yeah, they feel, I guess, like kind of
2003.
dissonant with the rest of the kind of like film. Like, it's it's almost like sci-fi-ish. James Bond.
Yeah, it does feel a bit sci-fi-ish, yeah. So anyway, let's talk about the situation Brian finds himself in. So this is from Wikipedia. After letting Dominic Toretto escape from the authorities, former LAPD officer Brian O'Connor flees from LA to escape prosecution. He relocates to Miami and makes a living participating in illegal street races. I mean, way to keep a low profile, right? So I mean, maybe that's the only thing he can do to earn money. But the question is, why did he have to flee? Because you remember the last scene, Michael? Of course, we watched it last week. No other cops were there at the scene. I mean, Brian could have, let Dom get out the car, because he's like, oh, he's hurt, and then, Dom could have
jumped him,
threatened him, punched him, taken the keys and ran away. Like, I don't know, unless there were witnesses there, but I don't think there was. We didn't see any. So, maybe if I was the LAPD and I didn't have any witnesses, what I'd assume is that he'd been killed. Like, if he just disappears. Like, oh shit, he died somehow. That's what I would have thought. So, I mean, he must have had a witness, but I don't know. What do you think?
No, yeah, I mean, I think, like, maybe they could have done something to make it so there's actually, they kind of, in a more meaningful sense, set up why it is that he did need to escape, like he does, I guess, I'm trying to think about how they could have seen about it, but I guess, they could have the opening, instead of the street race, just to kind of pace things out a bit more, they could have had like a prologue where it's Brian O'Connor doing, being a cop, let's say. Because I mean, one of the problems, I guess, in a way, this kind of continues what we were talking about in the last film, which is that Brian O'Connor feels like he was never really meant to be a cop. Like, there's no sense of like, oh man, this cop has gone dirty. It's just like, oh, this guy who clearly has no interest in being a cop isn't, behaving in a way that a cop would. So maybe to kind of course correct that, this film, they could have started off showing him being a cop, doing something coppy, while also like driving, so, in a police car or something, chasing some drug dealers or whatever. And then after that, he could come back from the thing, be like, yeah, I'm Brian, I'm a really good police officer, aren't I great? And then they say, hey, Brian, we just saw this, found this security camera footage or something or whatever, and it shows you letting Dominic Toretto go. And they'd be like, wow, I can't believe there was random security camera footage. And I go, well, you better start believing it. And then it would be like,
so what does he do then? But that's the thing. He just like, well, I guess I'll see you guys later then. And just runs out.
I think they could have. Yeah, I guess. Well, maybe they'd have to show him escape. Maybe they'd have to be like, hey, you're gonna come away, and he'd like be led away, and then he'd run off, and then he'd get in his car, and and then it would say "Too Fast, Too Furious." So like just as he jumps in the car, and then it's like 1 year later, or
and then
whatever.
It cuts to my okay.
That's a pretty good
I think it'd be quite a comedic scene with him, like
right, just
so, yeah. Well, no, where are you going? Oh, I'm just going to the bathroom. Yeah, I'll be back to view this footage.
I feel like that's like a Simpsons thing, where it's like he's just like oh wait, no, I know what it is. It's what I'm thinking of is in The Simpsons when Lou's like you gotta keep they keep getting away like that. You gotta be less trusting, Chief. And he's like Chief Wiggum's like, I'd rather let 1,000 guilty men go free than chase after them.
Okay. But anyway, Brian O'Connor is wanted by the police, and there is some extreme luck here on the part of the FBI. The FBI need drivers to go undercover, and that's why they went after Brian. But very lucky for the FBI that they have this ex-cop living in Miami who's good at racing, who they could arrest and force to go after cars of their own. Quite convenient for them, wouldn't you say, Michael? Quite convenient indeed. Yeah. Anyway, so let's talk about, I guess, the concept of this, because like the first film, it is like the first film, but the opposite. Brian is forced to go undercover, but now he's not a cop, of course. He's a criminal going undercover to get his convictions thrown out. Then, after that, maybe he's allowed to be a cop again, and once more go undercover, only to fuck up once again and have to go into hiding.
Yeah.
For him to be arrested again and have a chance to redeem himself to go undercover. Brian is trapped in this never-ending cycle.
Yeah, this film is actually Groundhog Day.
I know, right? But that's the thing. It's like just, oh yeah, he's going undercover again, but this time he's a criminal trying to get his conviction. It's the same fucking thing as the first one, just with a little twist. And of course, the power dynamics are different.
Yeah. It reminds you of in Tropic Thunder when they have the fake action movie trailer, and it's like, nobody could have guessed it would happen again 6 more times, but this time it's different.
Yeah, this time it's different, and of course he's got Tyrese Gibson. So it feels different than first for a lot of reasons, like different location. Tyrese Gibson is along for the ride, different villain and all of that shit. But the concept is eerily similar. Again, what did I criticize for the last one? A bit of lazy writing. Again, it's like kind of the same laziness here, but I guess maybe it's not laziness. Maybe, hey, the first one worked, so why don't we just do the same fucking thing again? That's the concept. But you can't really have it like once more. Actually, do you know what? Does that happen in the fourth one? I think he's another like law enforcement officer, and I think once again he goes undercover.
I was actually thinking as I was watching this, the fourth one is the biggest blank spot in my memory, because the fourth one kind of exists as almost like a weird limbo between the
first few and the next.
Yeah, well, I was going to say the two and 1, well, 2 and 3 where it's obviously the trilogy we're covering, and then obviously 5 through to 8 where it just gets ridiculous. The fourth one's always just one I'm like, oh yeah, that was kind of just that transitional one before Dwayne The Rock Johnson showed up and turned into pure schlock.
Because that was Fast and Furious 5, wasn't it? Where Dwayne The Rock Johnson showed up. Yeah. No, I don't want Fast and Furious. Yeah, so it's called Fast and Furious. So I'm just looking now. It's a 2009 American action film. So FBI agent Brian O'Connor. So yes, he's back working for the FBI. That's what I was joking. That's literally what happened. And Dom Toretto Diesel, who are forced to work together to avenge the murder of Toretto's lover, Letty Ortiz Rodriguez, and apprehend drug lord Arturo Braga. So yeah, I guess once again there. I mean, I don't know. I can't remember if he's going undercover, but yeah, once again, like he's gone from I'm a law enforcement officer going undercover. now I'm a criminal going undercover. Right, I'm a law enforcement officer, and I'm
Yeah,
going
and
undercover.
obviously, like,
Yeah.
he doesn't show up in the third one. So basically, in terms of his appearances, it literally is just, do.
Yeah, and then probably in the fifth one, he's back to not being a
Yeah.
not being a law enforcement officer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then they have to
well,
steal a safe and
yeah.
drag it around town with cars.
the thing is, they're like private contractors, aren't they? From
Yeah.
that point out, yeah, that's what they are. So it's kind of like it's halfway in between. Anyway, let's not talk about Brian for a second, Michael. Let's just think about how stupid this concept is, though, because my big question is, why would you trust this guy, Brian? Because he completely fucks you last time out. You know, you wanted to catch this guy, and you literally caught him, Dominic Toretto, red-handed. You know, he was stealing shit, and he
Yeah.
just fucks you. And back then, he was a cop, which was his job. It's funny, he does... This time, when it's not his job, he actually completes it for them. He actually delivers the bad guy, you know, instead of letting him go when he's not a cop.
He's just a contrarian, isn't he?
I know, he's a massive contrarian, isn't he? Now he's a criminal, though, and you're going to trust him to take down the biggest drug dealer in Florida? Why would you not think...
Especially seeing as
once-
we have established that, obviously we established last week, that this is the kind of guy who, if a criminal is remotely nice to him, he'll immediately decide that he's actually all right. So if after this
Oh, I
guy
like
had
you now.
threatened to, you know, get somebody's stomach eaten by a rat, he would have just gone, oh, by the way, Brian, do you fancy a beer? Brian would have been like, oh, he seems like a pretty nice guy, actually.
Yeah, what if Carter Verone just invite them over,
Or, you know,
for some beers, watching the game?
Yeah, what if after he does the rat thing, then somebody says, oh, by the way, somebody killed his dad, so that's why he did the whole rat thing. Brian's like, oh,
Yeah,
well, that's
but-
fine then.
A rat killed his dad, so it's the way it's how he uses this torture method to cope with the loss of his father. So, you know, it's complicated, basically. But yeah, that's the thing. Like, why would you think he won't screw you over like he did before? And again, it's ironic. He's not a cop.
And what
and
they
now
say, Luke, is when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. You know,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
my
Yeah.
advice.
I know, but let's also think about the fact that it's the black guy, Agent Bilkins of the FBI, you know, who hated him in the last movie, who picks him in this movie. You know, the customs guy, right at the start, he says he doesn't want Brian. So why does the guy who didn't like him recommend him? And this is from Wikipedia. They're trying to change history here, Michael. They're trying to change the sacred history of the Fast and the Furious. As before, Agent Bilkins holds a grudging respect for O'Connor's driving and street racing skills. Did he? I don't remember that. I just remember him saying Brian was doing a shit job and needed to hurry up. You know, he was going too slow.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember anything that would back up that statement there, but I don't.
Also, how did Bilkins even get put on this shit? Like, he was stealing electronics literally on the other side of the country. I don't know why he's doing, or why he's helping with drug busts, why he gave them the idea to hire Brian O'Connor. But yeah, I guess it's just fucking stupid. Like, it's just the whole concept, you know, the whole fucking reason why they get him, and the fact that it's Agent Bilkins who gets him. It's so stupid, but you got to ride with it anyway, because that's what you have to do with this movie, I guess. You know, you just got to ride with it. And yeah, you got a nice metaphor for even though we're jumping off a fucking ramp to try and land on a boat, you know, we just got to ride with it, even though it's fucking stupid. So yeah, I guess it makes sense from that meta perspective. But things get even stupider after that, Michael, because Brian, of course, insists on picking up Roman Pierce. And again, the FBI guy seems absolutely fine with that. You know, they don't know how reliable this guy is, Roman Pierce. He's not even an ex-cop. Like, he's just some criminal. Like, he's fucking doing demolition derbies. He has to wear an ankle bracelet. You know, again, you're trying to catch the biggest drug dealer in Florida, apparently. And you just have this guy on the job who's just like, I don't know, he doesn't seem exactly qualified to do this. Like, you could say, Brian, well, he's got some previous, you know, he's got some background. And this guy, he's just living out of a fucking caravan, just fucking ramming cars. That's how he gets his living.
Yeah.
And again, it's just so fucking
It's kind of like
stupid,
they
Michael.
really wanted, I guess, to get to like multiple films so they could get to a point where there's like a precedent for these characters to be established, so that they can say things like, you know, I want to choose my own team, and they'll be like, well, you know, he's the best driver, and it'll like have some kind of weight behind it. But at this point, there's literally no basis for that, because like you say, this Brian hasn't proven himself as a cop remotely, so it's kind of like, you just imagine like an alternative.
Why does he get to pick his partner?
this existing in like a real world, where it'd be like, I'll join you on one condition. I want to pick my own team, you know, my own teammate. And then the FBI guy just goes, absolutely not. No, we're not
No.
going to countenance that at all. That sounds completely ridiculous.
No, this guy is like he's a
Yeah.
fucking criminal. He's I like, by the way, how, you know, because his home is a mobile home, like he can go anywhere. You know, what a great way to get around having to stay 100 yards within your home. I do love that. But yeah, there's the thing. Like, this is the guy that you choose. Like, the FBI should be like, absolutely fucking not a chance. No, you stick with our guy and you can fucking train him, because otherwise, you know, who knows what the fuck's going to happen. And thankfully for them, they pull through. But again, you would not trust these guys as far as you can throw them. Absolutely not. But anyway, so of course, Eva Mendes takes them to meet Carter Verone, and we get the second race action of the movie. Some guy just absolutely fucks himself by banging against the two trucks, if you remember that.
Yes,
Michael.
that was my
Getting
favourite
crushed
bit.
there. Yeah, I mean, the problem is it was like quite fake, because he was deliberately steering and crashing.
Yeah, that's the thing. I did kind of feel like it wasn't. I don't know. It just it
I
wasn't
like
as
the
exciting as it
concept,
could have
needs
been.
better execution.
I mean, it was a bizarre moment where like I felt like it should have been more ridiculous. Like I was expecting it to like explode or something, and it just goes like it's just like
yeah.
whatever.
They were holding back in this movie.
Yeah, I know.
Right? Yeah,
It's
see,
like, why would they
that's
hold
what
back in
experience
this
gives
movie?
you. Yeah, that's experience.
Mm.
You know, in the future movies, you know, I like a screenwriter writing down, you know, back in the early days, you know, we didn't let things explode enough, but now we've got experience. Everything explodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Verone then asks Brian and Roman to go and get, I think it's a cigar out of his Ferrari. But the customs agents, because they're fucking stupid, think they're doing a runner. And this is why it's stupid, Michael, because Eva Mendes organised this event, you know, for them to go and chase like a fucking cigar in a Ferrari, or to get one, and you know, she's working for them. I mean, it's just so dumb. Again, just pathetically dumb.
Yeah, I
screenwriting.
when I was watching, I was thinking this feels like one of those things where it's like an excuse for a action scene rather than
yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's have the police chase them because, you know, they're doing a runner, even though like obviously it would make sense that they're not. But whatever. So they get the cigar, and they agree to work for Verone. And I'm surprised Verone doesn't have like an assistant to handle this. You know, that's what I have to say about the guy. Like, he seems very
hands-on.
involved. Yeah, with who his drivers are. Like, I thought that would be above him. Like, he'd have like some like lieutenants, I think they're called, to just handle that. Well, he's far off, away from all this, so he's never meeting with the people doing his dirty work. Like, even at the end of the movie, like the money is with him on this yacht. Like, the money, he's already gone. He doesn't need to be in that yacht. Why does he need to be on that yacht? He can be somewhere else. So yeah, I just think he's a very not a very good drug kingpin, considering he's the biggest in Miami, I have to say, or Florida as it were. So Roman very helpfully sums up the plot about around at the halfway point. You've got Eva Mendes in with Verone, Markham trying to blow their cover, and we've got two wired cars that are no better than this anklet bracelet. Fucking hell, that was difficult. And so yeah, I was like, thank you very much, Tyrese Gibson, for summing things up. I do appreciate that. So here's the thing: like they don't like what they see, so they're planning an exit strategy, of course, and that involves getting two new cars. And you know what that means, Michael? That's another excuse for an illegal street race in Miami. So they win that race, and we'll talk about that later in the racing section. And then we're on to the club to see Vernon. And it just occurred to me, like, all this shit happens in the same day. Like, they meet Verone to get his cigar. They meet Ludacris at his garage, and they go and meet with the FBI, and then they win those cars in a drag race. And then they meet Verone at the club again. All within the space of a day, Michael. Incredible, really. These guys, you know, they are fast and they are furious. They're just at it for the whole fucking day.
Yeah, I think with this film, there's not really a sense of like, I guess it's like there's no personality outside of the fact they just drive all the time. It feels like the best analogy I can make for this film is it's a bit like the difference between Grand Theft Auto 1 and like the later Grand Theft Autos. And obviously in the later Grand Theft Autos, it's like you can travel around, you can go into buildings, you can walk into the hospital, you can go see people. In the original Grand Theft Auto 1, it's just you press enter, you get in the car, and then you just drive around all over the place. And it's like, how do you get guns? By driving into boxes. How do you get money? By running people over. You know, it was a simpler time. That's kind of how this film feels. It's like, this film, it feels a bit like Pixar's Cars, in that it's just the cars hang out with each other. You get the impression these people would drive their cars into buildings if they could, you know.
What do you mean drive their cars into buildings?
I mean, I just mean like you get the impression that these people this film doesn't want the characters to ever be walking around. Like, if they could, they would just have the characters just exist in their cars, because they're like, well, the cars are what makes the film fun.
Are you
so
saying they don't have a personality?
Yeah.
They're not very
Yes,
two-dimensional?
exactly. I'm saying every single time that anything else is happening, you just get the impression the film's like, the screenwriters thinking, what can we do to get them in their cars to make them drive around really fast?
Yeah, that is true, and I think there is one scene later on in the movie which I talk about, which is quite different to the rest. Like, it's a scene at the sunset. I don't even remember when Brian and Roman are talking, but we'll get onto that later.
Yeah.
But anyway, next up, we have the best scene in the movie, Michael, where Verone has to get this detective to give him a 15-minute window, so he can get his money out of the country. So he decides to threaten him with a rat burrowing underneath his skin. It's quite clever with the rat metaphor, considering the detective is a rat, and all of that shit, and he's trapped because of the heat. But yeah, I mean, it's just so ridiculous and maniacal, but I love it. The thing is, I'm pretty sure this shit does exist, like rat torture. So very. I think this villain, he's decent. Like, that scene was good. It was kind of over the top, but you know what? I like it. Yeah. I'm giving that a thumbs up.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it was kind of an interesting scene when it shows up, because obviously there is a genuine sense of peril that comes from it. And, he is a villain who just does bad things. It does feel, and this is kind of where I was thinking about the fact that it's a way in which this film feels kind of generic. There is something about it that feels almost James Bondy, and it's a bit like, I think one of the things they have in James Bond is, like, you have a scene, like the obligatory scene where the bad guy
is torturing
kills somebody in like a very over the top way or something. So it'll be like, do you want to go for a swim? Then he throws him into like a pool full of piranhas, and it's like, oh, he's the bad guy. And this is it.
Sharks with laser beams.
Sharks with freaking laser beams. I also remember in the Alex Rider books, which you probably haven't read, but you may have heard of them. They're basically just James Bond, but it's a teenager. There's a villain in that who, one time this guy wants like money from him. He's like, hey, pay me my money, Buster. And the guy's like, oh, just go into, your money's right there. And he like walks into a room, and then the room starts filling up with like quarters until like because he owes him like millions of dollars. So the room fills up with like, 4 times that amount of millions of quarters, and the guy gets crushed by money, and he goes, looks like he didn't want all that money after all.
Fucking great. Yeah, but there's the thing, like, when villains do that shit, it's fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
It's fun, and that's what this rat thing is. It's fun. I remember when I watched it, like, as a kid for the first time, I was like, oh, I don't know, I'd like this scene. Because I was like, this is good, this is cool. Anyway, so Verone is also mad at Eva Mendes. The thing is, he's fine with Brian flirting with her, just not his girlfriend. Yeah. You can flirt with my wife all you want. In actual fact, I respect you for it, because it shows you've got balls. But my wife, nah, you shouldn't be doing, or my girlfriend, as it were, you shouldn't be doing that. The next day, though, Eva Mendes, it kind of comes out of nowhere. Like, suddenly Brian wakes up and Eva Mendes is there, like, Brian, he's going to kill you after you complete the drop. You gotta get out of there. And Verone's 2 henchmen are looking for her, I think, because she says, "Oh, I didn't sneak out without them knowing." So they just went over there suspecting that she was. I don't know. It just seems like a very weird like scene. Like, it's just like kind of out of nowhere. Like, all of a sudden, oh shit! Like, they've got a fucking gun to their head out of nothing. I don't know about that scene, but anyway, they meet with the FBI again. Do Brian and Roman and Markham, the customs guy. But basically, obviously, they tell them, hey, they're gonna kill us. These 2 Latino guys, they're gonna kill us after the fucking after we drive the money to this destination. And the FBI and Markham, they're just not concerned with it. Like, here's the thing, like, Bilkins is concerned with it, and I don't know why. Well, here's the thing, they should be like, I can understand them not caring about these 2, but they should at least be like, okay, we'll put in a plan to make sure you don't die. This is what you do. They just don't, like, they tell them, like, oh, we're going to get assassinated after we do this shit. And, like, they just brush past it. Like, like I said, they don't have to care about it, but, just at least have some plan. So, like, if they do die, they can say, well, we had a plan. And they just don't care. They just brush right past it. Like, we're going ahead with it
anyway.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel. So Brian and Roman decide to hatch a plan as well, to keep some money with the help of Ludacris. And quick question here, Michael. I'm wondering what you think about this. Like, Ludacris knows they are working for the cops, doesn't he? Like, obviously, he's helping them both, and you have to assume he knows. But the thing is, judging by what happens in the final scene, does he have to know? Or does
Yeah.
he not know? What would you think?
Well, I guess he doesn't have to know, but
Because here's the thing, like, he doesn't ask. Brian, of course, shows up with these cars that have fucking, like, tags on them, or like GPS, and he never asks, hey, so who's tracking you, or how did you get these? He isn't interested. So Brian could say he stole them or something, I don't know. But then it's like, hey, yeah, we need to run away from, I guess because they're running away from the cops, they're stealing shit. Yeah, it makes sense that, I guess, that, yeah, Ludacris does not have to know, I guess, if you think about it. He does not have to know, or because they're running away from the cops. Why would Ludacris think they are going after the cops? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or with the cops, I should say. If the cops are going after them, why would? Yeah. So yeah, I kind of answered my own question there, Michael.
No, yeah,
I answered my own question. Yeah, because I was thinking, like, he probably does a lot of illegal shit. I mean, he hosts fucking illegal street races, doesn't he? He presumably does some more illegal shit. So I don't know why he would help these people if they're helping, like, the cops. Like, I don't know. But anyway, I do like how you get a great song while they're fixing their cars, which is pump it up, pump.
Yeah.
Pump it
Da, da, da.
Yeah, exactly. So now, Michael, I want to talk about the relationship between Roman and Brian, because they have a conflict, of course, which isn't really resolved, it seems like. So, of course, Roman blames Brian for his arrest, even though apparently Brian had nothing to do with the arrest.
Yeah.
So, because that's what you think about when you hear them and go, fighting in the first scene. It's like, oh, Brian must have played a part somehow, being a cop. He must have been part of the operation. But no, apparently he just didn't know it was happening. He was on his fucking lunch break and it happened. And Roman blames him. So that's a bit fucking
Also, it does fall into the category again of Brian just, like, not being a cop. Like, every single time Brian could do anything remotely copy, he's got nothing to do with it. It's like, hey, I was every single time there was ever a crime, I was always having lunch.
Yeah, well, yeah, he didn't say he was on his lunch break. I just made that bit up, but he did. I just have nothing to do with it.
It was probably street racing.
Yeah, he probably was. But here's the thing: they never resolve things. It just kind of gets resolved throughout the movie because I guess things change when Roman hears about what happened to Brian. But it just seems like guys being dudes, Michael. That's the vibe. Like. They're just like, oh, I'll get over it. Yeah, that's the thing. Roman's like, yeah, I'm pissed at you, but eventually, over the passage of time, I'll get over it. And they have this scene at sunset, which I mentioned earlier. There's this sunset in Miami, and it's later on, and it's like, yeah, they do have a heart-to-heart, basically. And they were like, hey, man, I shouldn't have blamed you for my arrest. And it's like, yeah, man, I'm gonna be with you from now on. We're brothers, and they like, they do a like good high five, and it's like, yeah, oh, this is so cool. But the thing is, they are already good with each other at this point, so it doesn't have the same weight. I mean, if they had a confrontational scene, like when they hash this shit out, instead, because think about it, Michael, when they have that scene, it's like they're all good already. It's just like the cherry on top of their relationship being repaired. If they had an actual scene of them going, I didn't have anything to fucking do with it, and Roman's like, yeah, you know what, actually, you're right, I fucked things up. That'll be more impactful, but it's like, nah, all the conflict between them just naturally dissipates, and at the end they're like, yeah, you know what, we're cool with each other. It just seems quite shit, doesn't it, Michael?
No, yeah, definitely. I mean, it just seems like, it comes back to the fact that, yeah, like you say, just Brian doesn't, well, like I said, and like you kind of got to, Brian just doesn't seem like much of a cop, and therefore this idea that there's some meaningful conflict between them, it just doesn't exist. And yeah, this kind of harkens back to the first one, where there's not really a meaningful conflict between Brian and Vin Diesel. It's just that there never is. So it's sort of just like, I never got the impression there's anything complicated going on.
The guys have to get along, Michael. Men want to see guys, getting along, broing out. We can't have these fucking arguments. That's what women do.
They're not women. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I did like the fact that, at least Brian, apparently he says that Dom is similar to Roman, and that kind of explains why he let Dom go at the end of the first movie. Again, it's a bit, I'm not sure about that, but you know what? At least it's a reason. At least it's better than, oh yeah, I just liked him. Yeah, so I'll let him go. At least it's a deeper reason than that. Apparently, it's because of his childhood friend was similar. So yeah, that makes more sense to an extent. So let's get on to the ending now, Michael, of the movie. So the detective doesn't hold off the Miami PD, of course, the guy who was touched by the rat. So I guess his kids are going to get shot. Bad news for him. And the Miami PD go after them. And I don't know why the police department and the customs agencies and the FBI didn't, coordinate and sort this thing out to make sure that, the Miami PD pull out, but they didn't do that. So Brian has to get away from them. And, again, I will say, just like last week, a good action scene with the EMP harpoon thing. I didn't, like I said, I don't know how realistic it is, but I thought that action scene where they were trying to get the harpoon off and the Latino guy was sweating next to him.
Yeah.
I think that I like that. What do you think?
No, yeah. I thought it was a little thing to spice it up, and obviously it gets onto. I think like when you just have like people driving around, you do need to come up with inventive things, and I think that's obviously what they start doing later on in the series as well. And I think basically they had to do it, and I think picking.
Well, they did it in the first movie as well. You think about it with Vince holding onto the truck.
Sorry, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, has your memory just been?
Sorry, yeah. I was trying to think about it. Yeah, and obviously when you said Vince holding onto the truck, for some reason I was thinking about like Vince like dragging a truck in order to like with his bare hands. I was thinking about doing it with bare hands in order to like take it away somewhere, and I was thinking that wouldn't make any sense. And then I was like, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. No, yeah, basically obviously they do interesting things with it, and I think this was obviously, well, it's slightly more interesting. So it wasn't just somebody dragging a truck with harpoons or whatever. It was a harpoon EMP now, which is everybody loves their EMPs.
Yeah. So the Miami PD, by the way, can't drive for shit. That's very much clear. So they go into this garage, do Brian and Roman, and then of course we get this great scene where all of these cars come out. I don't know why they had this idea though, Michael, because think about it. Well, think about. You tell me, Michael. See if you're paying attention. Why this scene was stupid? It's stupid because they should have not needed to do this.
That's kind of what I was. Well, you were kind of hinting at anyway. But I'm just okay. Yeah. Why did they not need to do it, Luke?
Go on. No, you tell me, Michael. You watched this movie as well.
I mean,
I've already mentioned. I mean, you watch the movie, you should know this. I've already mentioned the fact that the guy who was fucking had a rat burrowing into his chest was meant to give them a 15-minute window.
So yeah, they didn't have the 15-minute window because he didn't do it. So the whole thing was kind of because they didn't have the 15-minute window. Should have been.
The fact is, Michael, they should have had the 15-minute window.
Yeah, but they didn't.
But they didn't. But the thing is, they should have. So therefore, why would Brian and Roman plan this out to get away from the cops if they thought they were going to be fine, get away from the cops already? Okay. You get that?
Yeah, so, okay, yeah, I got it, yeah. So, yeah, because the fact that the cops... I mean, again, it seems like, it's another example of them needing to inject the cops into things, they did it with the going to get the cigar, and they did it here. And... yeah, in both cases, actually, it is unnecessary.
I'm not talking about I'm talking about the fact that.
Well, yeah, no, sorry, I get what you're saying. So basically, yeah, it's as if they knew that the detective was going to ultimately have some balls about the whole situation when they shouldn't have known that, and it should have been like, and it's kind of it's almost more stupid because it's like it would have been almost more interesting if. In fact, there's no almost about it. It would have been more interesting if the whole them not having a 15-minute window thing caught them off guard and they had to think on their feet to come up with a solution.
Yeah, but the thing is, they already came up with a solution, even though a solution to a problem they were promised
didn't exist.
This problem would not exist. The Miami PD would not be on them because they would have this 50-minute window. But yeah, apparently this did not happen because immediately after 2 minutes, this detective's fucking extremely lucky they planned this all out. What if they didn't need them? What if the cops
weren't actually there?
Yeah, so all these people were just stuck in this garage for an hour, just well, when are they going to get here? Oh, we're not needed. Okay, let's just go home then, I guess. Because again, it's so fucking stupid and lazy and all of that shit. Yeah, and also if you think about it, there's a lot of organising that went into this as well, Michael. Would everyone agree to do it?
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, you could say, well, they get some money for it, but I don't know. I just think it's because actually, didn't Verone say it was at 6 a.m. the start?
Yeah.
So you're getting people. This should have been a nitpick. You're getting people up in the fucking morning to do this, to just sit in a garage and then drive off, and under threat of arrest from the police. If they're not getting paid for this shit, then it's not worth it, in my opinion. Anyway, so they go to a different point meeting, as we discussed in our nitpick, meaning that Verone and Eva Mendes are alone, and I guess that makes Brian go to the point instead of ejecting the Latino henchman and just going back to the meet-up point with Roman to steal the money, because he realizes that Eva Mendes is going to be left alone with Verone. So Verone, of course, so that makes sense. I was just like,
he's a real white knight.
Yeah, he is a real white knight. So Verone pulls the old trick of telling Eva Mendes about a meet-up point which didn't exist, only for it to be somewhere else. The older Colleen Rooney trick that she played on Rebecca Vardy. And I don't know why he still wants to kill Brian though, because he's been quite reliable. He's an asset that I wouldn't want to lose. Like, sure, he hit on his girlfriend, but he's going to kill his girlfriend anyway.
That's
so
a good point. Yeah, like it's kind of. I mean, that's one of those stupid things. Like, it reminds me of in the Fantastic Beasts: Crimes of Grindelwald, where Johnny Depp's character just goes has a henchman, and he doesn't have a henchman. He has a little lizard that is like a pet lizard, and he's like, oh, I really love this lizard, and then he just throws it out the window, and it's like, because he's evil, get it? So even like things that don't cause many issues and are actually quite good for him, right. He's going to get rid of them. It's kind of like in this case, it's like, he's got the henchman, it's like it's a useful henchman, but he's a bad guy, so he's obviously just going to kill his henchman. Yeah,
but it's such a stupid drug. I don't know how he got the best to be the best drug kingpin in Miami. It's got to be nepotism.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, think about it. Like every single time he gets like a really good, reliable henchman, he's just like, yeah, but I think I might kill them anyway.
Yeah, kill them. So
there's got to be a point at which henchmen are just like, I don't know if I want to work for this guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he just doesn't seem too smart as Verone. Again, must be nepotism, like his brother handed him this empire, or like his dad or something. But anyway, so Roman saves Brian, and I don't know how he knew that Brian was down that little alleyway, but he did. And they beat up the Latino guy, which is quite fun. And then we have the most epic scene in the movie, part 2. Yeah. I still put the rat as number 1. This is number 2 though. Brian uses a ramp. I don't know how he knew it was there or why it's there. It doesn't matter though. He flies through the air and lands perfectly onto the boat. And after injuring Verone, they arrest him. It's just beautiful.
It's reincorporation.
Magnificent. Yeah. Sorry, why is it?
Well, because obviously it's a ramp. Like, so they set up at the beginning the whole ramp thing.
Oh,
and then right now.
Yeah. I didn't think of that.
Who didn't watch the movie now?
Well, I did, but I did watch it. I remember those 2 incidents. I just didn't think about the reincorporation. But were they going for that?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like, it's not quite up there with Toy Story's
I think they will. You know what? I think so. Yeah. I mean, I think obviously it's 2 different things. Like, let's have them race over a bridge because it's fun. And
let's have them defeat the bad guys by racing over or jumping over a bridge. What I found shocking is how fast the film wraps up in terms of the action scene. Like, I was really shocked by that, because it's just like they land and then just like almost immediately they shoot him. So like their final confrontation with the bad guy, in effect, lasts not very long at all.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. They land on the boat and like 5 seconds later they shoot him.
Yeah, it's mental.
Yeah, I was expecting him to maybe have like a fucking
get on a speedboat.
No, he'll have a gun to Eva Mendes' head, and it's like you come any closer, I'll fucking blow her brains out or something. And then I don't know, something. Else happens.
Speaking of Dwayne Johnson, which you already have, it reminds me of, I haven't seen this film, but apparently in the Skyscraper, do you remember he was in that Skyscraper film?
Yeah.
The final confrontation's in a Hall of Mirrors where the bad guy threatens like his kid or something. It's like, come any closer, I'll shoot him. And Dwayne Johnson's like, he's like, that's fine. I won't attack you, but there's one thing you forgot. And the guy's like, what is it? He's like, I'm actually behind you. Which is, it's funny.
And he can't hear the fact that his voice is clearly coming.
That's how mirrors work,
Yeah, I love it. That's fucking great. Anyway, so they say a line though, because here's the thing. I was thinking, do they really need to jump on that boat? Obviously, yes, because it's the fucking Too Fast, Too Furious. But do they need to do that because they can just call the the helicopter and be like, hey, this fucking Eva Mendes who's on this boat, like the boat can't obviously go that fast. But here's the thing. They have this line where they say if they see a customs helicopter, they will kill Eva Mendes or whatever her character's name. I think it's Fuentes. But why? I mean, I get killing her and disposing the body so she can't talk, but how are you going to get rid of a body on a boat? How are you going to do that? how maybe they could weigh her down and toss her off the side, but
Yeah.
wouldn't the helicopter then see that? So there'd be no point in doing that then, because
Yeah.
you're done for murder.
You get- yeah, arrested
I
anyway.
don't know. Yeah, exactly. Like I think it's an obvious excuse for Brian and Rome to go after the boat and jump on it. I get. It's just it's an issue, but I was just like, yeah. I mean, that throwaway. They should have just not had that throwaway line on it. I can't speak. They should just not have had that throwaway line, and they should have just. Yeah, fuck it. Let's go to the boat. And Brian's like, well, you know what? I wasn't thinking. I just wanted to save her because I love her.
Yeah.
Even though she doesn't come back in any of the rest of the movies. Yeah, there's another character. R.I.P. Barely knew her. But to be fair, we get Ludacris and Tyrese Gibson.
Yeah. You get them back.
The black core of the Fast Saga.
Yeah.
What I mean is the two black characters.
Yes.
Like we mentioned before, they have to have different demographics, in this team, so everybody's happy. Good for marketing and all that. And this is Too Fast, Too Furious is where they got their black characters from.
Oh, yeah.
So shout out. This movie has some long lasting impacts, but sadly no more Eva Mendes.
Yeah. They already had a
yeah.
Latina girl.
Yeah, they do actually. So that's that is probably why she didn't come back, literally, because they already have Letty. What's she called? Michelle Rodriguez. Yeah, they already have her. So that is probably the reason. So obviously the movie's over, and they steal some money. Brian has that line. It's like our pockets aren't empty, Kurt. And I will say, a great ending. More movies should end like that. With a boat, a car landing on a boat, and then the pump it up music to end it. Fucking great.
Yeah.
So going back to the original review, Michael, which I talked about at the beginning, beautiful people and beautiful cars in a movie that won't tax the brain cells. That's the line. And then, I disagree. I think it does tax the brain cells, trying to work out everything that is going on, because a lot of it doesn't make any sense. I mean, we talked about that, that scene with which you were eventually worked out with Ludacris and the rest
Yes.
of his people hiding in the garage when supposedly, because the detective was giving them those 15 minutes, the Miami PD wouldn't be on them, and so they didn't need to confuse them by having a bunch of cars drive out. Again, just things like that. It doesn't make sense, but you're constantly thinking about, well, why did this happen? It isn't simple. It's a stupid movie, but it isn't simple because there's just so much stupid stuff going on. Another review I want to point out, Singleton, this is the director, abandons the underground racing subculture that gave the first film its allure, relying instead on lazy thriller plotting that's only a bag of donuts and a freeze frame. Wow, this is harsh. Away from the average TV cop show. And I disagree, because I think there's more underground racing than the first one.
Yeah, that's true,
I think that's
actually.
something that we commented. There wasn't that much underground. There's literally one scene at the beginning of the first one with underground racing. This one, it's got 3 different scenes, I believe.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
So the first one, and then obviously the one where they, after the cigar thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Actually, maybe only 2
Yeah.
underground street races, but yeah, only 2. But that's still double the last one, I guess. And it feels like there's more racing as well in this one.
Yeah, because even they're racing to get the cigar box.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe that counts as well. It's illegal, so there you go. But yeah, basically, Michael, it's kind of the same thing plot-wise, isn't it? Racing is in the background, but the main plot centers around, going undercover and stopping some illegal shit going down. Of course, the first one was the trucks. This one, it's drugs. Thank God for the drug war, by the way, Michael. Thank God for the drug war. Otherwise, we would never see great movies
Well,
like this.
I genuinely do think, when we achieve a post-gas to utopia, the big casualty will be the film industry. It's people point out, Breaking Bad, considered, one of the best dramas ever made, only exists because America does not have free healthcare.
Yeah, literally. That's it. If American healthcare was like us or any other developed country, Breaking Bad would literally not exist. One of the best TV shows ever created in the history of media. That's wild to think about. But yeah, so thank God for the drug war. Similar to Breaking Bad, Too Fast, Too Furious relies on the fucking war on drugs. Yeah, you love to see it. Anyway, so races, Michael. Did you like the character of Suki? Did you like her?
Yeah, because she's a different race.
She's a female racer.
Oh, because of her race. She is a female racer. And I feel like that's the thing they did. I feel like that's a recurring thing they've had, actually, female Japanese or Asian in general, but I feel like probably Japanese a lot of the time just because of Tokyo Drift and things like that.
You can tell the difference.
Yeah, I can't tell, yeah. But Although I mean, I guess they have different names. Like Suki, that's a very Japanese name, I think. Anyway,
Actually, yeah, Suki is Japanese. Yeah, you're right.
But basically, I mean, well, it's weird 'cause she does feel like a lot of a background character in this. Like, there's.
I like it when she says to the Latina guy in the first race, "Bend over, boy,"
Yeah, I like.
and rams her car.
Okay, I mean, okay. So if we're going to talk about the racing, two things.
Yeah, let's talk
One,
about it. Yeah.
I did notice with this one, it seemed like they zoomed in a lot more, especially in the first race. But I think throughout the film, like there was a lot of just zooming in to a really extreme degree on like different aspects of the car, like the wheels and the exhaust and the nitro and all that kind of stuff, which I thought was a bit disorienting. I feel like I said with the first one that I appreciated they had a few kind of wide shots that made it kind of easier to see what was going on. In this case, it kind of feels like they went in the opposite direction.
No, I disagree. I think they'd have enough wide shots. I think the thing is, like, can you easily follow what's going on in the race?
Yeah, you can.
And yes, I think that is the case. Like, I enjoyed the racing scenes, honestly.
Okay.
Maybe because I like racing and I can't help it, but you're going to see better racing here than at the French Grand Prix tomorrow. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, those Frenchies.
It's just a shit circuit. Nothing. Nothing to. I don't hate the French or anything. But yeah, even with the bullshit like gear change up, to go faster. Like even with that, it's fun, and they do it quite a lot in this movie, more than the first. Like I like it. It's fun. I do enjoy the racing scenes.
Now, can you explain to people who don't know anything about racing why gear changing to go faster is bullshit? Okay, obviously, like I understand that. Is it because it's too instant?
Why would you not? Why'd you do it? Like, cause it's how it happens. It's of course you change up gears to go faster.
I get what you're saying. So in other words, it's kind of like it's the idea of like as if changing up gear is like something you do in the moment when you want to go faster, rather than just being a thing you naturally do as you accelerate.
Exactly.
Okay, I do understand that.
When they look over to one and it's like, well, I'm going to change the gear up to go. Why weren't you doing that already? That's the issue.
Yeah, I like the idea that for like hours or like several, a decent while before they come into contact with the car's just like really straight, like, and then he's like, I can't change gear yet because there's not anyone for me to make eye contact with.
Yeah, just wait another 10 seconds until we make eye contact.
And then the
engine,
I don't know what happens if you're in the wrong gear for too long. I mean, I know that it can stall.
Your gearbox probably breaks. That's what probably happens. Which is nice. Anyway, I did like also one of the Italian guys. The one who wears shades. And the other called Fonzie.
Oh yeah,
both of them. I like both of them. Yeah, and Roman calls him Fonzie. I mean, they just look so funny. Like the old guy looks out of place. Like the one that called Fonzie, he literally looks about 15 years too old for this like underground racing scene. Like he looks, he literally looks quite out of place. Don't know if you.
No, yeah, I do. Yeah,
because he looks like he's about 48 years old. And when they lose and they have their girls are clutching them from behind. You remember that? Yeah, just such a funny scene. I love that. I love that image. I don't know why they chose to race Paul Walker and Tyrese, considering they were clearly the fastest. I feels like you deserve to lose. But yeah, no, on the racing again, I enjoy it. Yeah, maybe it's just because I like racing, but I like it. I think the critique of there's not enough street racing. I mean, when there's more than the first one, and even when it's not street or drag racing, with a checkered flag. When they're weaving through traffic on the massive Miami interstates that apparently are all over Miami, then those scenes are often fun as well. So, thumbs up again from the racing action for me on this movie, Michael, and I assume a thumbs up from you as well.
Yes, there is one other thing about the racing which I found interesting, which I think will also be a good transition, as if I had a gearbox on me. So let me just transition to the fact that something which is I think it's more prominent in this film. I think it's in all of the films, to be honest. So it's possible that I just really noticed it in this film, and it's the random like driving dialogue, but just like the way just the way it is, like the way it's just like the driving dialogue goes, "Oh, bad move," and then like literally just. I swear it's ramped up to 11 in this film. It's like every single time something happens, it cuts to a character just saying something to themselves. It kind of
they need to say something. They need to.
Yeah, it reminds me of in like Top Gear, obviously, when the celebrities are doing their kind of little tracks, and then it cuts to them talking to themselves. But it's just like obviously in that case, it's kind of it's almost intentionally awkward because it's like these are celebrities who aren't really so like, oh, I missed that a bit. And in this one, it's like the same thing, but it's trying to be cool. And it's just like, I just can't find it cool watching a bunch of characters just like talking to themselves. Because you just imagine how awkward that is. Like if it was in real life, like Paul Walker's just there going to himself like, oh, too slow. This will give you something to think about. I'm going to shake you, buddy.
Tyrese Gibson just laughing manically to himself.
It's so stupid. It's just so funny, and I swear, I mean, I'm not wrong that it's just like seems to be more prominent in this film than it is.
Yeah, I think maybe there's more races, so maybe that's why it's more prominent.
Yeah, that might be it. Yeah,
But I just want to talk about the dialogue in general, though. Like, it's ridiculous. Like the amount of bros that are in this movie. Like it enhances the vibe, and that's what this movie is all about from a positive point of view. It's the vibe, two bros, literally they call themselves like driving fast, trying to win races and shit. But yeah, it's just there was that moment where the Latino guy goes to Brian, "You're a good driver," and he goes, "Thanks, bro." And it just cuts to another scene. Like again, I just the use of bro is just great, and there's a lot of uses of "cur" as well. It's like, I don't know if it's cuz, like cousin, like short for that, like cuz, or like it's cur, like CUH. Yeah, it's one of the two. At one point when Rome wants to hear about the events of the last movie, or Brian's past, letting Dom go, Brian says, "I don't want to talk about it, cur." And it zooms in on his face as he says it. I just it's such a great line. "I don't want to talk about it, cur," like that. And he didn't say that at all in the first movie. Like, I can't remember him saying bro or cur.
Yeah, I think what happened is I've forgotten the name. Oh, John Singleton. What happened is he heard his kid say this word, which I guess is like, I don't know, apparently a slang term in probably LA or whatever. When
Miami.
Yeah, but I'm thinking like John Singleton probably lives in LA. That's my thought. So he probably heard it from his kid. I mean, it's probably like was in America, but he heard his kid say it, and I was like, oh, what's that? Like, basically what I'm saying is if this film was released in like 2012 or whatever, it would have been filled with people going, "Epic fail." like it's like I get the impression this is like a dad screenwriter who heard his kid say something and was like, oh, that's what the cool kids say.
He didn't screenwrite it.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah, of course he would. That would be,
yeah.
This doesn't seem like the kind of film that would be produced by the writer-director with a vision, actually.
But yeah, also I think there's this YouTuber called Chris Smoove, who I believe is from Miami, who says "cur" quite a lot. He goes, "Oh, you're too slow, cur." Because he's playing sports games quite a lot, so maybe it's like a Miami thing to go "cur."
See, the only other thing I've ever heard is that in Oblivion, the Elder Scrolls games, whenever you get attacked by bandits, they always go, "Die, cur." I don't know.
Yeah,
so they're all
that
from
line
Miami,
from Brian
apparently.
though. Yeah, when he's really pissed off, like Paul Walker. "I don't want to talk about it, cur."
Yeah, I guess like that's the thing. I guess like
brilliant.
using like cool in inverted commas slang terms when you're angry seems very strange.
It makes the movie more fun.
Yeah, it does.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
it makes the movie more fun. Yeah. There's another point, a great bit of dialogue where Roman gives Brian the finger, and Brian just that's the funniest thing he's ever seen, and he laughs and he goes, "Smart ass." Like, apparently that's a really clever thing to do.
Good one.
Good one.
What a story, Brian.
There's another great piece of dialogue where they're at Verone's table, and Paul Walker's like, "I wasn't checking her out," talking about Eva Mendes.
Oh yeah.
"I wasn't checking her out."
He's like, really?
"Yeah, you were." "Okay, I was."
Yeah, I know.
It's just incredible, inspiring dialogue. "I wasn't." "Okay, yeah, you were." "Yeah, you're right, I was." "Right, just stop talking about it." Just fucking incredible. There's another. Sorry, I keep pointing these out. I just have to because they're so good. Roman, is pacing around. It's when the FBI guy threatens him with a gun because Roman shot him earlier. And do you remember this? There's this little cut where Roman's just pacing around, and he grabs some fast food, and the customs agent guy says, "Hey, that's mine," and Roman just goes, "So?" and just eats it. And then they cut immediately to Brian talking to Bilkins, and it's just that little scene. It's like a mini cut, and it's just done, and it's just fucking. I don't know why that was left in the movie. It's so out of place, but I love it. But yeah, a lot of the dialogue, and I think this is what you were referring to last time, Michael, and again talking about the characters talking within their car. A lot of the dialogue just does sound like video game characters, like NPC talk. And yeah, the one I picked out was when Suki fucking Ludacris and some other people, like his mechanic, whose race I'm not sure, it could be Asian or Latino. Yeah. Maybe it's half and half. Like the bald guy looks like Avatar: The Last Airbender, like Aang. Like that kind of thing. Anyway, they're there playing poker, and Suki says like this line was like, "Oh, put that money back on the table. You know it's mine next round." Like
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
and it's just the most fucking generic line ever from. Yeah, it feels like it's from a video game. It's just, oh god, the dialogue is it's funny in this movie. It's funny. It's it's so bad it's funny. That is a case of it's so bad it's good.
Yeah, it also
And,
reminds me
even
of like there's like a Family Guy thing where it's like Europeans who are trying to sound like Americans, and obviously European meaning like continental European. It's like, hey
Yeah.
guys, let's go to the movie theater and watch and watch the game on at the bar, and it's like basically just really generic lines, and that's kind of how it feels with this. Just like just very unnatural.
Yeah. These people are Americans, so yeah.
It's almost like I guess
they
the
don't have
terminology I was want to use is like unnaturally natural, and it's just like the most generic things that somebody would
yeah,
say.
exactly.
And yet it's
Yes,
almost like it's so weird because of that.
It's so generic, nobody would actually
Yeah.
say it. And even like they have the heart to heart with Tyrese Gibson and Paul Walker at that sunset I talked about, and even the dialogue there is just so generic as well. It's crazy. But anyway, let's talk about now, Michael, where it all began, because that's the theme, because Ludacris, of course, like we said, appears in this movie, appears, of course, in the subsequent movies. This is his first time, and he's a fucking mechanic in Miami, Michael. He does illegal street races. No, he hosts them. He doesn't even drive them anymore. I mean, eventually he's doing all this espionage stuff on an international level. You know, at least Brian was a cop and Dom carried out these, risky illegal heists of trucks.
Yeah.
You know, still
Well,
so
well,
far
let's not
off with the
forget that
series.
in Fast and Furious 8, and probably before that, Tej or Ludacris is a hacker who's able to hack into.
I was going to mention that. And it's like Ludacris, no, he's so far off like Dom and fucking Paul Walker. But then in the subsequent movies, he's made into like this hacker who's like really good with computers. You did not get. He's a fucking mechanic in this movie. He's fucking like with a megaphone watching speedboat races.
Yeah.
And he's like, like he's There's the thing, like being a mechanic and being good. Like, you think, it's technical stuff. No, I mean it's very different. Being a mechanic and like knowing about computer stuff. Like, maybe skills will translate one to the other, but like I don't know. It just seems quite a leap. Yeah. Also, Roman Pierce, of course, Tyrese Gibson, his first appearance. Again, a guy doing espionage for the U.S. government, stopping terrorists. Is living in a trailer, doing demolition derbies.
What's also interesting about the Roman character, I don't know if you're just about to point this out, is that in the later films, he becomes much more of a comic relief character. Like, his whole shtick is that, like, he is.
Well, that's what he always did the shitty jokes. In this one, he's still kind of like that a bit.
Yeah,
But,
he has more
he
dignity.
really
in
takes
this.
it up
like
to-
when he, for example,
He
takes
does.
off his shirt and he looks like buff, and he like smashes the window, and it's like it comes across as kind of cool. And then like in the later films, he's just like, man, I hate
Well, no,
driving.
because Brian just opens
Yeah,
the
I know.
door.
Okay, yeah. So sorry. Yeah, I guess like so it's comedic, but there's an element of like, if I'm gonna be the butt of a joke, I'd like it to be the butt of a joke where I take off my shirt to reveal my ripped body and then smash a window effortlessly.
Yeah, no, you're right, he goes from the comic relief, well, he is a comic relief in the later ones too. In this one, he's kind of the comic relief sometimes, like when he sets those guy's car windshield on fire. That's kind of that shit. But yeah, he's got a lot more dignity. That's a weird word to say for this character. Like he seems a bit more serious, and he should command a bit more respect, which is so weird. But yeah, no, that's his transition. Also, Michael, he says he has this line where Roman says he hates cops and has a problem with authority.
Oh yeah.
Then think about it. He then goes to work for some CIA-like organization.
Yeah. What a character arc.
Yeah, I know, and it's like what Gramsci shared, about the establishment turning, rebellions into people they like, cultural hegemony, as he said. And Roman Pierce is a victim of this cultural hegemony. Went from a guy who was like against authority to now he's working for the fucking top authority in the whole fucking world, the CIA and the US government. So, yeah, a sad character arc, but there you go. And that's Gramsci is right, and Fast and Furious movies prove it. And in this essay, I will show that. That's a good topic, don't you think, Michael?
No, yeah, definitely. I think, and we really need the like a left tube channel to do like an overproduced video essay, like the late stage capitalism of Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious. Yeah, oh god, you could probably do a lot on that just because there's so many movies and so much shit. But anyway, Michael, shall we conclude now?
Yes, let's conclude.
You go first.
Okay, so this film, I mean, obviously we've had some fun with it, but I will say sometimes sometimes I feel like just because we have fun discussing a film, it doesn't always reflect how enjoyable it is watching the film. And sometimes, by contrast, a film can be quite enjoyable to watch, and we won't necessarily have as much fun talking about it. Because it's there's a subtlety to what makes a film enjoyable to watch. And in this case, I would say there's something there, but in my opinion, this is the worst Fast and Furious film, not necessarily in terms of like quality, because like we kind of said, it's actually pretty generic in a lot of ways. Like the plot isn't like overly stupid, the villain is kind of interesting, but in terms of like the actual interest I had in watching it, I think that this is the film I would least like to watch, because the other films later on after kind of Tokyo Drift have that kind of just fully lean into the stupidness in a way that's entertaining. Tokyo Drift is obviously, I hope, going to be more entertainingly bad than this film, and obviously the original is just reasonably competent. So this film kind of just gets stuck in a bit of a limbo, and I think that just means that overall I can't say that I'd enjoy it that much. So I'm not going to be like horrendously, like there's nothing to actively dislike though, just a bit boring. And for me, when a film's boring though, that is quite a serious thing, especially for a Fast and Furious film. Like the one thing I don't want to be is like bored. And there were moments where I was just thinking, I don't really care. And therefore, I'm going to say this is a high 3. So yeah, it's my lowest rating, I think, of all of the Fast and Furious films.
Well, I'm going to give this a 4 because Too Fast, Too Furious, 2 plus 2 is 4, so that just makes sense, doesn't it? But yeah, no, I think it is a 4, and it's closer to So Bad It's Good than the first Fast and Furious. Like I said, that was a lot more competent than what the rest of the franchise has a reputation for, or maybe competent's the wrong word, just not outwardly dumb. But yeah, I still don't think this reaches the threshold of So Bad It's Good. It's fun in parts, the music and the dialogue and the action scenes. It is good, and the two leads, they're fun, and I don't think I disagree with you it being boring. I don't think you can have like a boring time watching this. It's passable. I think it is passable. The plot, the setup is stupid, and there are a lot of plot holes and laziness and all the stupidity along the way, but it's not like that in your face dumb. Like it could be worse, and again with Tokyo Drift maybe it will be. So yeah, I just think you could watch it. You could you wouldn't have that great a time, but yeah, no, certainly it's not as good as Fast and Furious, the first one, in terms of just quality, but then it's not as bad as like some of the other movies in this franchise, in terms of how stupid and ridiculous it is. So yeah, it is kind of in that middle zone. So I think a 4 out of 10, Michael, is fair. And yeah, again, the racing is decent. So Michael, we are now going to predict F9, what that is going to get on Rotten Tomatoes. So are you ready to do this prediction, Michael? Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
You've got a number in your head.
I do have a number in my head.
Okay then. Right, here we go. 3, 2, 1,
63.
Oh wow, okay. So you've gone for 63. I've gone for 67. You'll never guess what, Michael. I was thinking of giving it 64.
Uh-huh.
But then I bumped it up to 67.
I was thinking of giving it 65, and I bumped it down to 63.
Oh wow. I was like,
because I thought 65 was too round of a number.
Okay, I was like, no, you know what? I'll go a bit higher. I'll go 67 because I think these past few movies they have been around that. I can't quite remember, but yeah. So 63 for you, 67. Okay, so it's quite tight as it normally is, I guess. So Michael, that is it for Too Fast, Too Furious and our F9 predictions. Have you seen what's happening in F9? By the way, John Cena is back, and he is apparently Dom's brother.
Oh wow!
I believe. Yeah, it just was not mentioned in the previous 8 movies. Yep, but he's back. He had to do this really embarrassing apology to the Chinese government after saying Taiwan was a country, which is a fun little video. But what we do next week, Michael, speaking of Asian stuff and Fast and Furious?
Well, Luke, we are doing Fast and Furious Taiwan Drift. Not really. Tokyo Drift.
Tokyo Drift, of course. Yeah, not Kyoto Drift, or Kobe Drift, or Osaka Drift.
Sapporo
Drift, yeah, that's in the Northern Island, whatever that's called. Main island's Honshu.
I think the Northern Island is called Hokkaido.
Yeah, is that the Southern Island?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, either way, actually.
I'm not sure. Anyway, but we'll discuss Japan more next week.
Yeah. Speaking of discussing Asian politics, if I ever got in trouble with the Chinese government for saying Taiwan was a country, I would just move to Taiwan and say, hey, use your legitimate monopoly over the use of violence in this place to arrest me. And then they go, oh, crap, we can't because we don't actually control Taiwan. And then I'd laugh at them. Haha,
Yeah,
I'd say.
exactly. Yeah, checkmate. Big brain move there, Michael. But anyway, so join us next week for Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. Just the best song ever with that movie, and we'll go into that. Who have you been, Michael?
I've been Michael.
I've been Luke. Thanks for listening, and goodbye.
Goodbye.